Top 10 Worst Pandemics Events in History. Pandemics are something out of the normal. Even though not being that common, we still evidence it a good number of times throughout history. Infectious diseases are spreading across a large region or even worldwide, causing most of the situations that change in history. These are the 10 most deadly pandemics events in history. Welcome to Top 10 Now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get right into it. 10. Hong Kong flu. The 1968 flu pandemic, also known as the Hong Kong flu, was a global outbreak of influenza A type, most specifically H3N2. This flu originated in China in July 1968 and lasted until 1969. It is suspected that this virus descended from H2N2 throughout a process called antigenetic shift. In this process, genes from multiple subtypes reassorted to form a new virus. It killed an estimate of 1 million people worldwide. Symptoms lasted 4 to 5 days, but people over the age of 65 were more likely to die. Although a vaccine was developed, it was only available after the pandemic had peaked in many countries. 9. Cholera 6 outbreak. Cholera 6 outbreak is a major outbreak that started in India, where around 800,000 people died. It further spread to the Middle East, North Africa, Eastern Europe, and Russia. Cholera is an infectious disease caused by a bacterium called Vibrio cholerae. The bacteria typically lives in salty and warm waters. People contracted cholera after drinking liquids or eating foods contaminated with the bacteria. It acts by causing the intestines to release increased amounts of water, leading to diarrhea and rapid loss of fluids and electrolytes. There have been numerous outbreaks and 7 global pandemics of cholera. Each year, according to the World Health Organization, cholera affects 1.3 to 4 million people around the world, killing 21,000 to 143,000 people. 8. Russian flu. The 1889 flu pandemic, also known as the Russian flu or Asiatic flu, was the last great pandemic of the 19th century. It is not known for certain what agent was responsible for the pandemic. It is attributed to the influenza A virus, subtype H2N2. It killed about 1 million people worldwide. The modern transport infrastructure assisted the spread of the 1889 influenza. It was first reported in Bukhara, in the Russian Empire. A virological study in 2005 says that it is tempting to speculate that the virus might have not been an influenza virus, but human coronavirus OC43. 7. Antonine Plague. The Antonine Plague was an ancient pandemic that erupted in 165 CE, brought to the Roman Empire by troops returning from the Near East. There were 2 outbreaks of the pandemic, one that lasted until 180 CE, affecting the entirety of the Roman Empire. The second one occurred between 251 and 266 CE. Some historians suggested that the plague could be the starting point of the decline of the Roman Empire in the West. Those who got infected suffered the symptoms for roughly 2 weeks. Not all who got the disease died, but those who survived developed immunity for further outbreaks. Modern researchers have concluded that the disease was more likely smallpox. 6. The Third Plague. The Third Plague began in Yunnan, China, in 1855. The Third Plague was a major bubonic plague. It accumulated a total of 12 million deaths in India and China. About 10 million deaths were from India alone. The name makes reference to the third major bubonic outbreak to affect the European society. The first being the Plague of Justinian and the second one being the Black Death. 5. HIV. AIDS. HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus. It is believed that HIV originated in Kinshasa, in the Democratic Republic of Congo around the year 1920, when HIV crosses a species from chimpanzees to humans. The first cases of acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, or AIDS, were reported in 1981. HIV causes your immunologic system not to work properly, so basically, the virus itself is not what kills, but its capacity to destroy any defense to common and normal illnesses. Even the most minimum infection could kill you. HIV has caused over 35 million deaths, and it remains present. 4. Plague of Justinian. The Plague of Justinian was the beginning of the first plague pandemic. This plague was caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis. Originating in China and Northeast India, arriving via sea trade. The starting point of the Justinian plague was Egypt. It later expanded to Asia, Africa, and East Europe. This plague was carried by the Black Rat, which traveled on the grain ships and carts sent to Constantinople as a tribute. Its name is given after the Roman emperor in Constantinople, Justinian I, who according to history, contracted the disease and recovered in 542. This plague took a toll of about 50 million. 3. Spanish flu. The The Spanish flu was the most severe pandemic in recent history, taking place in 1918, caused by an H1N virus with genes of avian origin. One-third of the world's population at the time became infected with the virus. This is about 500 million people worldwide. Mortality was high in certain age groups, such as people younger than 5 years old, 65 years old and older, and with a unique feature of a high mortality rate in healthy individuals between the 20 to 40 years old. The death toll is estimated to be 50 million. The name does not make reference to the virus having Spain as an origin, but it was Spain the first country to reveal the existence of the virus. At the time, World War I censors minimized the early reports of the virus, giving space to the false impression of Spain being the region. 2. Smallpox. The origin of the smallpox is unknown. However, the disease is thought to date back to the Egyptian Empire around the 3rd century BCE, caused by the viral virus and being contagious, meaning that it is spread from one person to another. The global spread of smallpox can be traced down to the growth of civilizations, exploration, and expanding trade routes. The initial symptoms include fever and vomiting. This was followed by the formation of sores in the mouth and skin rash. Over a few days, the skin rash turned into fluid-filled bumps, with a death in the center. Smallpox is estimated to have killed up to 100 million people in the 20th century. The death rate was 30% higher on babies. Those who survived had severe scars in their skin, and some were left blind. It is important to say that the World Health Organization certified the global eradication of the disease in 1980. Eradication of smallpox is considered to be the biggest achievement in international public health. 1. Black Death. The Black Death, also known as the pestilence, was the most fatal pandemic recorded in human history, taking place in the year 1346. The disease was caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis. The Black Plague was the beginning of the second plague pandemic. It originated in Asia, and it was carried by fleas living on the black rats on the merchant ships, and it was terrifyingly contagious and highly lethal. People who were perfectly healthy when they went to bed at night could be dead by morning. It affected Europe, Asia, and North Africa. This plague is estimated to have killed around 30% to 60% of Europe's population. In total, there's an estimate of 200 million deaths. The Black Death may have reduced the world's population from 450 million to 350 million in the 14th century. It took until the 15,000s for the European population to regain the levels of population they had back in the 13,000s.